So in the previous video, we looked at how learning Tamil through our auditory experiences only, like watching movies or talking with our family, was just not enough to truly understand the depth of the language. And this was the case for myself because I was out here saying words that were all wrong. So in order to truly read, write, and speak Tamil, I would have to go back to the basics. There are 247 letters in the Tamil alphabet. And I know that can sound intimidating, it did for me, but don't worry, today we're just going to touch on the first 12 Uyire Eluthukkal. We'll go over what those letters are and what they should sound like, and hopefully touch on a thing or two that you didn't know before. Here's what you missed in Tamil class. The Tamil alphabet is actually very logically set up. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to be focusing on the Uyire Eluthukkal. There are 12 Uyire Eluthukkal, and they're known as our vowels. They are Ana, Avana, Ina, Iena, Una, Uvana, Ena, Ayena, Ayena, Ona, Oana, Avana. Now before we get into how each letter is supposed to sound, let's break down what Uyire Eluthukkal actually means in English. Uyir means life, or Uyir can also mean soul, and Eluthukkal means letters. So Uyire Eluthukkal are life letters or soul letters. Now this is very interesting and something to keep in the back of your mind as we go through the rest of the alphabet. It's quite fitting that the first letters of the alphabet are called your life or soul letters, and these are the first letters that anybody who's learning Tamil learn first. The sound that each Uyire Eluthu makes is made without breaking the breath. So any of the 12 Uyire Eluthukkal, you can make the sound in one breath, and it goes from the pit of your stomach all the way out to your mouth. So it sounds like a, I, u, e, I, o, ow. Now you probably notice that there's a combination of long and short sounds. Because there are long sounds, a lot of people tend to make this mistake by saying I, and really emphasize the long sounds. I used to do this too, but I learned that this is actually incorrect. Remember I mentioned that the Uyire Eluthukkal should seamlessly flow in one breath. And when we go we're really forcing the long sounds. So there's actually a trick so you don't fall into this bad habit. It's called the snapping trick. Well, I don't know if that's what it's called. I'm just calling it that. Your short sounds should last one snap, and your long sounds should last 2 snaps. So it should go like this. A, I, u, e, I, o, ow. We actually have categories for these long and short sounds. So Uyire Eluthukkal kuril nedalaga pirikkapadum. So our life letters get separated into kuril and nedal. So kuril are our short sounds and nedal are our long sounds. So we have 12 Uyire Eluthukkal and we separate them by 5 short sounds and 7 long sounds. And if you want to differentiate between the two, we use the snapping trick to do so. I think it's very interesting and also beautiful that our language was created with so much thought and care. Even outside of the alphabet, our Tamil Moli and Kelbi are given great importance and respect in the Tamil heritage and among people in Tamil society. And that respect and care towards the Tamil language and education in general is started when you're a kid. So between the ages of 2 to 5, there's a tradition or rite of passage called Eluthukkal or Mudal Eluthu. So let's break down what this means. Edu means letter, and Thudakkudal means to start, and Mudal means first, and Eluthu means letter. Essentially, it means to start learning your first letters and beginning your education. So let's talk about what happens during an Edu Thudakkudal. Surrounded by family and friends, the child, usually with the help of a parent or an elder, writes their letters in rice for the first time, and usually they start with their Uyire Eluthukkal. Sometimes kids also write their names out as well. Now, there's a common misconception that this tradition is a religious tradition. That is not true. This is just a Tamil tradition that we have carried out for many, many years. And anyone who is a member of the community, an elder, oftentimes people also go to teachers, can oversee this, someone who's just willing to bless the child in having a good start to their education. As you can see in the third photo, the ceremony was done before prominent Tamil figures. There's a picture of Thiruvalluvar, other Tamil figures, and a bunch of Tamil books. So the Eluthukkal is usually done on auspicious days. Today, they're commonly done on Thaipusam, which is in January, or on Vijayadashmi, which is in October. If you're curious about why people would choose Vijayadashmi for this day, I made a video all about Navaratri, so make sure to check that out so you can understand better. So typically after the child writes their letters in the rice, they're given a book with the Tamil alphabet, and it's usually this slim rectangular book that mimics our palm leaf manuscripts. From when the child is very young, they're taught to celebrate and respect our language and education in general. Now, this importance of education goes all the way back to ancient Tamil civilization, where education was not exclusive to anybody. In fact, it was inclusive to all. We can see this with female poets being part of Sangam literature. And in Kuladi excavations, an excavation done of an ancient site found in South India, there is findings of artifacts dating back 2,600 years ago. And among those findings, they found pots with writing on them. It was later uncovered that the writing on the pots were actually names. So just as we write our names on our belongings, our ancient ancestors did too. The interesting part to note is that it was found in homes, meaning that women must have had a high literacy rate as well as the common working person. This is important to remember because the past few generations, we've seen certain genders or classes of people get denied the right to education. But that was just possibly a learnt behavior, you could say, from what was happening globally. Because in the Tamil heritage, our fundamental morals and values speak to the importance of education for everybody. So I just wanted to bring light to that now because the deeper we explore the Tamil language and the heritage, it gets pretty deep, and honestly, I have a much better appreciation for my Tamil heritage now. So in this video, we looked at the 12 Uyire Eluthukkal, and I hope you will join me as we go through the rest of the alphabet. Thanks for watching!